If I were a sponsor reading this sponsorship proposal, there is one thing in here that stands out to me that would make me instantly know that this probably isn't a sponsorship for our business. And it's a mistake that many sponsorship seekers seem to make all the time. But there's also a couple of things in here which are really good, which with a few changes, I think can make this a much stronger sponsorship proposal. So today we're looking at Flynn, who's a New Zealand trampoline athlete, and his sponsorship proposal, which I believe was sent through by his dad. Flynn is seeking sponsorship to fund his dream of participating in the Olympics for New Zealand in trampolining. Unfortunately, I have no idea how much you're looking for, how much they're seeking in sponsorship dollars, because it wasn't listed in the proposal. They said that they have been approaching energy drink companies and protein companies. So what I'll do is I'm going to go through this today. I review hundreds of proposals every year. I talk to tons of big brands and companies who use sponsorship, and I'm going to review this sponsorship proposal the same way that I'd review one of my clients' proposals. I'm going to give it unfiltered and honest feedback, the very type of feedback that most brands just simply are not going to give you. They're quietly thinking it, but they're just never going to tell you it. Okay, so I'm going to give that today. So let's jump into Flynn's proposal. All right, so we've got a sponsorship overview here. Sponsorship overview, I actually don't know what Swell is, but I don't know if that's a company that they've been approaching. So straight away we're into Flynn's story. So, talking about his background, beginning at 8 years old, trains 15 hours a week, 100% of self-funded sport, graduated from school. So this is just sort of giving you a bit of a background on Flynn and his story. Then it's straight into his sporting achievements, New Zealand national champion, international events, world championships, more into his credentials, I guess, 9th in the world here at the 2026 World Cup Series. Then we're into benefits of a partnership. So first of all, we've got title page is fine, except for, I'm not sure what Swell is, sorry. We've got 1, 2, 3 pages here where we're talking about Flynn, we're talking about his credentials, we're kind of positioning it as, he's a hardworking athlete, he's got these goals, he's trying really hard, he's self-funding all this stuff, which is sort of leaning more towards philanthropy, sort of altruistic themes, help him get there, he's self-funding it. It's not really talking about the brand themselves. So if you're talking to an energy company, it's not talking about an energy drink company, it's not talking to the energy drink company. So it's not going, hey, you guys are trying to sell more Monster energy drink, here's how I think I can help you sell that, right? It's straight into 3 or 4 pages of Flynn and building him up. And then when we get to the actual benefits of the partnership itself, it actually doesn't tell you much at all on how you can use this or what the benefits are, other than sort of a feel-good factor. So, you'll be supporting him. It talks there around some TikTok eyeballs and having lots of people watching on TikTok. So saying his TikTok, he had a TikTok post that reached 4 million views, great for eyeballs. But how do you actually use that stuff for a business? And it's talking about your support could be the difference that helps them reach the Olympics and put your brand up there with them. But it's not telling you how to put your brand out there with them. It's not telling you what that looks like. Supporting local. A lot of this stuff has sort of philanthropic, feel-good aspects, which is, give back to Flynn, do a good thing, you'll be aligning with a future champ, etc., etc. But none of it's actually how to use the sponsorship, if that makes sense. One of the things that I do like is this here. So brand collaborations, you've got here, he's obviously done some work here with Jump Flex Trampoline as a brand ambassador, Crafty Wicker Bar, Balmano Sportswear, but it doesn't actually tell me how he's worked with them or give the reader an idea on how they could work with him, right? So these here are great. Most people don't have these, so kudos to you for having them. This is really good. But I would look at even building one of these out or two of them out into an actual case study. Hey, this is how we worked with the brand. This is what Flynn did with them. This was the end result. This is how they used it to engage with their audiences or sell more wicker bars or whatever it is, okay? The other thing is that this isn't tailored, okay? And I don't know how much sponsorship you're looking for because it's not specified. Let's say you're looking for $20,000, right? But it's not specified in here, what the opportunity is to partner with Flynn is for a business and how much that's going to cost a business, okay? So, in order to, like, if I'm reading this as the sponsor, I'm kind of going, cool, how much is it? Do I have to then reach out to you to find that out? Like, you're creating work for me, and then it's going, how do I even use this? Like, how do we use Flynn? Nice that he's trying to get to the Olympics, but how do we use him? Like, how do we get a return on investment? How do I, when the CEO goes, why are we spending this money on Flynn? How do I justify that to him? Right? So that's the way that a lot of businesses, especially big businesses, think. So those are probably the three biggest feedback or things that's probably not working in your favor at the moment, which is, heavily philanthropic, not heavily, but probably more philanthropic leaning and sort of, trying to get funding rather than corporate sponsorship, not tailored. So, how does Monster Energy Drink use this? How does Red Bull use this? And then also, like, no price indicator. So you could have a scale in there. So if you're nervous about putting the price in there because you don't know how much to ask for, just put in a range. So partnership starting from $2,000 to $20,000 or whatever it is, if you need to put a range in there. The other thing is, I should mention that a lot of sponsorship deals are very rarely done based off a sponsorship proposal anyway. So really the first step is getting a meeting. And I don't think that this at the moment is going to get a lot of meetings with, certainly not the businesses that you're trying to approach. You might get people who give product rather than cash, because that's a really easy thing for a lot of businesses to do. So they go, oh, yeah, we'll give back, we'll give you some product because it costs them a lot less than the cash equivalent. Now, yeah, you're probably thinking, how do I get money to get to the Olympics? Sponsors are thinking, how do I actually use this to justify the spend for our business? Okay. So if I were doing this sponsorship, the other thing is I think your media coverage is good here as well. I would make these clickable. It doesn't look like they're clickable. If you got links to these, make those clickable as well, and do links to your social media. So here you've just got IG. Some people aren't going to know what IG means, so just put in Instagram and make that clickable. And TT, again, a lot of older people probably aren't going to know that that stands for TikTok. Again, make it clickable to the TikTok accounts if you can, because then people can quickly click through versus, I had to actually search it online. Just a little thing, little barrier that, someone's attention may get lost and then they haven't done it, haven't looked into you, and maybe it's your TikTok account that actually goes, they look at that and they go, wow, he's actually got a lot of followers. The other thing I want to say before I jump into what I would do is that individual athlete sponsorship is really tough. It's one of the toughest ones out there. A lot of philanthropic funding, so gaming trusts and poker money, gambling money, etc., they brought in some regulation many years ago now, probably like 20 years ago, which made it harder for individual athletes to get funding from organisations like that. A lot of them now favour registered not-for-profits and charities, etc., which a lot of individual athletes don't fit the bill of. So that becomes very difficult. If I was giving any advice to individual athletes, it would be to grow your social media following and grow it quickly. Look at how you can be entertaining, be a personality, someone who has an engaged audience, because that's really easy for brands to look at and go, oh man, we can get in front of that audience and we can do some cool activations with them, and we know that people are going to see it, okay? It's a tough one for athletes because you have to spend so much time, energy focusing on your craft and getting the best at what you do, and then trying to think about how to come up with cool content and grow a following is a tough ask. But my pushback on that is that if you want to reach the top of the game, which is what most athletes are aiming for, right, at the top, that's a requirement. You have to work with media. You have to, you'll have brands that want to do commercials with you or social media posts. You'll have to do live Q&A sessions with people and all sorts, right? So it's going to be part of the gig. That's the job. Job is, hey, you're part entertainer, part athlete. Getting used to it now, building a social media following is really useful. What would I do? Okay, so if this is me and I'm Flynn trying to get sponsorship, there's two paths I could go down. One is how much you're looking for is probably quite important. So if you're looking for $20,000 or less, you probably actually don't even need to approach, your big energy drink companies like Red Bull and Monster. They're getting approached by everyone. Not every single, but so many athletes are desperate to get sponsorship with them, and they can pick who they want. They can pick who they want. They know that if they pick popular athletes, that they're getting their product in front of hundreds of thousands of people. They most likely have hundreds of thousands of followers, so they can pick them, right? So it's a very competitive space to play. And if you're not already an established athlete like that, it can be very difficult to get sponsorship from them outside of them just saying, yeah, we'll give you a few trays of drinks or a few cans or whatever as a bit of a feel-good give-back thing. What you could do, so where I was going with that is, if you're looking for 20K or under, I would probably get into my trampolining kit or something like that and potentially even just hit the streets, walk into small, medium businesses where you can talk directly with the CEO and use the kind of more philanthropic route, because those are the types of people who are more likely to give in those situations, right? Bigger companies, you're going to struggle to meet with the CEO, you're going to struggle to meet with key decision makers, and then they're also going to have to justify the spend to multiple people in the organization. So it's a tough road to go down unless you've got some real value to offer them. So that's just something that, and I know this because recently I just helped raise thousands of dollars for Papamoa Volunteer Fire Brigade. And I did this exact method, put on my uniform, walked into businesses, and talked direct to the business owner. I just said, hey, as the owner or the manager here, can I talk to them, have some background material ready to go, and just hit them up on the spot. Then if you're looking for $20,000 or less, what do you need? You need 10 to 20 organizations to say yes to $1,000 to $5,000 in sponsorship, right? Now work out some cool things that you can offer them. But yeah, I'm going to give you now also what I would do if I'm approaching bigger brands, or if I really wanted to add some value to some of these businesses rather than leaning too heavily on the philanthropic stuff, because the philanthropic stuff can be quite tough because lots of people get asked for funding to go to various things. My kid's going into play under 11 cricket, or we're trying to play in this Masters tournament over in Singapore, or whatever it is, right? Lots of people need funding. And so you can go down that route. I would suggest the best way going to businesses. But if you don't want to go down that route and you do want to figure out, hey, how do we actually do commercial sponsorships? How do we offer value to brands? There's a few things you can do. And I haven't got time to go through all of them, but I'm just going to give you a couple. One, I would look at, could I create or help someone create some bespoke video content? I think trampolining is a unique sport. Could I do some really cool content with them? Maybe offer some shout outs while I'm actually at the Olympics, some live video content saying, hey, thanks to everyone at this business for helping me get here. I'm loving it. Your support has helped what's get me here, etc. Could you offer to bring, if you win any medals, or like even if you don't win medals, could you offer to come back after the Olympics and bring your medal in for photo shoots with their staff and cool opportunities like that, or even just come in and talk about your experience and what it meant and how they helped you and how, like what you learned along the way, and, talk about discipline and dedication and all these types of things that you could offer to a business. First things first, if you're looking at bigger brands, you want to start looking at their website, look at their socials, look at what's important to their business, and then ask yourself, how can I help them with something that's really important to them, okay? So one thing that I was thinking of when I was thinking about this particular proposal was Sleepyhead. Sleepyhead beds could be a cool brand to approach. And potentially the angle is, Flynn really understands the importance of quality springs and a good night's sleep. Sleep is now the most important part of his training regime, or how important it is to his recovery. Or maybe he could create some cool content about, and I don't know if this is true or not, but maybe he could create some cool content around, hey, like when I first started out when I was 8 or 7 or whatever like that, I actually just started by jumping on old mattresses in the backyard and practicing flips, and that's how I first got started. And then now I've evolved to, rather than treating mattresses as a plaything, like they are absolutely optimal to my training regime, and it's probably the number one thing for being able to compete at the highest level is a good night's sleep. And being able to talk about that. Maybe you could also offer like a keynote session with their workforce where you come in, you talk about the impact that their work's having on your career and your training. And again, they could film this if they wanted to and share it on socials. You could meet with their leadership team and do like a keynote around discipline and how to maintain focus, how to dream big, set goals, how you achieve goals. That could be really cool from a just like a professional development piece for them. You could offer to come and do a demonstration, set up your trampoline in their workplace or in their car park, have them invite their customers down, where you're actually doing a bit of an aerial display, something that's unique, that drives attention. They could maybe even run some PR off the back of it. Maybe you could run a live Q&A for them and their customers while you're over there that's exclusive to them, where you're answering questions that their customers have got or their staff have got. Maybe you could come in once you're back with your medal and you could run a live Q&A in their office, talking about your experience. Maybe you could run private coaching sessions for their staff's kids or for customers' kids, where you host it at your gym and you offer to do free coaching sessions for a period of time, where you're going to take someone from couch potato to trampoliner in 5 weeks' time or something like that. These are all things that you could be offering to businesses and going, here's how you could use a sponsorship with me. Here's how I can offer value back to you, right? So it's less about, hey, I'm trying really hard. I've got these sort of big Olympic goals. Instead, here's how you use me. Here's how I can add value to your business. Here's some of the things that I can do in exchange for money, okay? So, final sponsorship test on this proposal. Would this sponsorship proposal keep me reading and get me excited? In its current state, unfortunately not, Flynn. Would I take a meeting or send a canned, generic, polite no? I'm probably going to be declining this sponsorship and not taking the meeting. Only because if you're approaching my business or any of these big businesses, it doesn't talk to their business and it doesn't go, hey, here's how you use it. But I think you can make some of these changes, right? So I think tailor it towards a business. So like the Sleepyhead example, say, here's exactly how you can use a sponsorship with me. I think I can help educate people around the benefits of a quality night's sleep and how beneficial good mattresses are. I think I can do some unique content explaining how the importance of demonstrating the importance of quality springs and how that's important to both my sleep and my training. Here's how I think I could offer you some ways that you can engage staff and your top clients by doing some coaching clinics or doing a Q&A in your workplace, coming in and doing a demonstration. Use your imagination, but come up with some of those things. Here is quickly, let's have a look. And you could easily jump into ChatGPT. This is one that I just jumped into before I jumped on. I chucked this in. Here's a little slide that I could talk to. This took me 2 minutes to create. That you could put in your proposal for, if you're going to a sleepyhead mattress. So this here talks about the backstory behind first learning on mattresses and then creating some cool content, and then how now you use it for a good night's sleep, and why a good night's sleep is so important to your training. All right, so you could do something like that. Now, to finish off, I do want to say a big props to Flynn and your dad for sending this through, opening yourself up to this type of feedback. It's much easier to spot these kind of problems in someone else's proposals than it is in your own. So if you are watching this video, take a look at your own proposal. Ask yourself, would a sponsor understand how to use the sponsorship? Would they understand the opportunity? Or are you making them do all the thinking on how to use it? Do you have a compelling reason for them to even take the meeting? And if you'd rather me take a look and do what I've just done here for Flynn and his dad, then that's exactly some of the things that we do with our clients that get sponsorship. So feel free to get in touch. Our clients are regularly locking in sponsorship deals and using this type of feedback to lock in more sponsorship than ever before. So if you found this useful, go ahead and subscribe, follow, because I've got more of these proposals that I'll dive into, along with other useful tips, tools, and strategies to help you get more sponsorship. Flynn and your dad, good luck. I wish you all the best, and hopefully that was really helpful for you.